opinion. No, there's definitely more to Creek than we know, than meets the eye.
Very dark secrets. Don't you?
Were you with the books, or were you?
I wasn't at all. I knew of Charlaine Harris's work via mostly the Sookie Stackhouse series. But I mean, as soon as I mean, right after I read the pilot script, I got the first book and read the first book before shooting the pilot. Then I was sort of waiting. I didn't want to jinx it, so I sort of waited till the series got picked up to continue on. But then after a conversation with Monica, I decided against reading the other two books because even though there are elements from the third book, even in the pilot, I know that she wanted to depart from the book's plot lines, even though I think it remains true to the essence of the novels. I didn't want to have to grieve over plot points that I grew too attached to. So I wanted to make Manfred my own and not feel too much pressure to be faithful to the character on the page. Yes, I met a few, actually. I met one in particular that I felt was very warm and open and welcoming to me, called Psychic Anna in Albuquerque, where we shot the pilot. It all happened very quickly for me. So I think I booked the role, and 3 days later we were doing prep in New Mexico. But she didn't give me a reading, but I sat down with her for a few hours, and she sort of walked me through all of her process, and also told me about other people. So I just took a little bit from a few different people as to even the technicalities of giving someone a reading, using different props, either cards or a ball, which we don't do on the show, but yeah, some of that. I think it's just gripping enough to just sort of takes him by the throat and doesn't really give him a chance to be skeptical about it. He's lived with supernatural powers and ghosts his entire life, which we'll see in a future episode. Actually, we go back to Manfred's childhood, and we also see Zelda's character as a living person. Manfred is a little boy. I don't get to play the little boy, sadly, but it's a very moving storyline. I think he's sort of shocked by it and constantly thrown around. But I don't think I don't think he doubts it. I think it's funny because I think it's a personality trait of his. I think if he didn't have any powers himself, he probably would be skeptical of all of that. He's a little cynical. But yeah, I think the rest he just takes it face value. That he was flawed and sort of reluctant to be a hero. The fact that it was such a hard thing to live with. I think he has a hard time controlling his powers, that it costs him very much. There's a whole, I think we see that in the first episode, that he pops pills, and so later on he has to deal with that addiction problem as well. And so there are a lot of elements with Manfred that sort of ground him to and make him, I think, relatable to real human beings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what you were just saying, has some real issues, He's kind of a troubled bad boy.
Is that why why Creek is drawn to him?
That's probably part of why Creek is drawn to him. She has a really overprotective father, and she's probably looking for a little bit of excitement in her life, but I think it might be more than she bargained for. Throughout the season, I was like, so much stuff is happening to him. I don't think he'd be really emotionally available as a boyfriend, but...
Do you?
Sometimes. Depends. I could definitely get I don't know if this is like psychic, but I could definitely, if I'm home alone, I'll get really scared and I'll be like, what was that? What was that?
Yeah, I tend to be more skeptical of these things, but I can definitely. I think I could. I sort of avoid these things because I think deep down I am scared of them. But on a more rational level, no, it's not something I partake in.
Right, like Pringles, like once you
Once
pop,
you have one,
can't
you can't
stop,
you have to go to
so he needs
Right.
to abstain.
Well, he'll stop
Yeah, because
soon enough.
This guy's chasing you. Why are you answering his call?
I think
Right.
there may have been a few scenes where he didn't answer the phone, but they ended up on the cutting room floor,
Or maybe he's a little bit in denial.
or maybe they ended up on the cutting room floor.
Maybe he's picking up. I don't know that the story about, you're going to find out what happened to her mother kind of is just the beginning of what you're going to find out about Creek's home life.
They never make it to the first kiss. There's always
It's just
something.
a running gag the whole way through. No, that's not true.
It's a running gag for a little while, and then
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Episode 2 is when you get it.
is that episode 2?
Pretty much. Yeah.
End of episode 2.
I feel like they don't immediately know what's going to happen. I think
I think
actually...
they just think like they just think of each other as like a really cute new person.
Right, they have a crush, but
they
I
have
feel
a
like
but-
Manfred's trying to get serious and Creek's like, no.
Well, not yet. I think Manfred's just lonely.
They're both two lonely souls
Two
coming
lonely
together.
souls. But I think they will definitely learn to know each other and perhaps love each other in a deeper way, with a deeper
Maybe,
connection.
but there will always be...
through the challenges that they face together,
Exactly.
and through opening up about their dark pasts.